Bloomberg Mobile.
Welcome back to On the Move Asia. Check out those scenes of Tokyo this morning, or that scene. You can see the Nikkei 225 is down by 1/5 of 1%. It's kind of the tone really across the Asian markets this morning. They are mostly lower. Let's cross over to Sydney, home of the ASX exchange, the takeover target of the Singapore exchange. That is leading the way lower. You can see it is down by nearly 1/3%. And if we have a look at Singapore, home of the Singapore exchange, which wants to take over that ASX force, you can see that market is down by 1/5. The Singapore exchange actually losing ground again today. All right, well, commodities may be the investment story of the year. That's thanks in part to a weaker dollar. Gold is trading near a record high. Palladium is at its highest level in 9 years and is at a 9-year high. And copper is at its best level since 2008. Well, cotton's also commanding attention. The fiber is trading at a record high. Speculators are betting supply will tighten. A cold front in China may damage crops there just a week after hail pounded Texas. That's the top cotton grower in the U.S. Well, futures have rallied by nearly 8% over the last couple of days in New York, leading to a temporary halt in trading overnight. And it's not just cotton. Sugar, wheat, and coffee are soaring as well, meaning that breakfast is probably going to start to cost you more pretty soon here. All right, well, Japan's foreign minister says that the country is working on mending ties with China. But when it comes to resources, well, it doesn't want to rely on its neighbor.
It's certainly not good for our own resource security to rely on a single country. We are in the process of diversifying our supply sources.
Well, Japan is talking to other countries after China reportedly cut exports of rare earth minerals following a territorial dispute. Well, China controls the market for rare earths, which are used in disk drives and hybrid cars. They're used in millions of products. Well, our next guest says that China is not intentionally holding a monopoly on the world's rare earths market. He's Bill Meiker, and he joins us from Barron. Bill, thanks so much for being with us today. So Barron International, you're the managing director of this Hong Kong-based company, and you're an advisor to the government in this rare earth center of China.
Right. Since August of last year, Baotou region, approximately 30,000 square kilometers.
Produces 95% of the world's rare minerals.
Rare earth minerals.
Rare earth minerals.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So, you know, Baotou, again, we hear a lot in the news about trade conflicts taking place now in rare earth. I mean, rare earth, first of all, isn't so rare. But China, luckily, has very large iron ore deposits. So, you know, rare earth comes from an extraction through a chemical process of mining. So, by default, as they produce iron ore, they produced a lot of the rare earth. And the world was, quite frankly, was willing to, for the sake of the dollar, take the cheapest producer.
China's doing it the most cheaply. I mean, it's very difficult to do environmentally. China has the cheap labor. They've cornered the market.
Well, I don't know if corner is the right word, but again, other people were producing it, but it does leave a big environmental footprint.
So, I mean, there are these accusations that China has introduced these quotas on rare earth exports as a political tool, as a political weapon. Why would they ban all exports to Japan, for example?
Well, first of all, they haven't banned all exports. You know, there's some rare earth minerals have been banned, but there are many others that can come in. You know, we are doing things with the Baotou government to encourage investment into Baotou, and that is both upstream and downstream in terms of rare earth or rare earth technologies. And again, you know, trade and national interests, you know, they dictate how things go. But Baotou is not the closed shop that the media has played it out to be, or even how Japan has purported it to be.
Trade and national interests dictate how things go. So do you not think that there's any truth behind these accusations that China is playing a game here with its rare earths, if not political, against Japan, then say perhaps economically? For example, the Japanese make better cars than the Chinese. Why would the Chinese want to help them out by selling them rare earths?
Well, again, that's a whole basket of trade issues, but it's no different than the 1980s. You know, Americans were very upset about Japanese cars displacing GM. You know, American raw material coming back. You saw these down with Japan. movements in the United States. And, the thing that people forget, roughly, about $5 trillion of global GDP comes from companies that use and utilize rare earth. What's happened today with all these new low-carbon technologies, China can't even keep up with its own demand for the rare earth.
So this is that they need these resources first and foremost, and then if there's some left over, well, then they'll sell that to the rest of the world.
Well, I don't think it's quite like that, but again, I use the analogy. Canada, United States, they don't export raw logs. They'd have to be some value added. What Baotao is saying, come here, and you have access to the rare earth. We want to add some value added, and in some cases, you can take the rare earth minerals. You can be part of the extraction process.
And this is what China is looking for from investors. I mean, you say that you've got proof that China isn't playing a political game here, because you introduced some Middle Eastern investors to Baotao. Tell us about that.
Yes, Deng Xiaoping, about 30, 40 years ago, made the comment, the Middle East has the oil, China has the rare earth. So when we came to look for funding or investment partners, I said, well, I'm going to go to the Middle East. And now I have several pension funds as well as high net worth Arab investors who see that very much, that linkage.
What are they doing that the Western countries and companies aren't?
Well, I think they're paying attention to the fact that, it's like professional sports. You have to develop your talent when it's young. You have to identify what's going to be coming up, who's the talent. And I think the Arab investors, at least, they see with a lot of these new low-carbon cities that are being built in the Middle East, you need to be close to the source. Where's the technology coming from? Where's the raw material coming from? And I can tell you as an example, there's some great rare earth development properties out there, Bolero Resources, for example, in Canada. But you have companies like this that the big Japanese SOEs and they don't want to get into development companies. They don't want to get to the early stage.
But that's the only way you're saying to secure that material.
Well,
for your future business.
You have to plan for the future. You're not just going to say, I want that all-star hockey player when he's 20 years old. You have to identify him when he's about 12 or 13 and develop that product.
Okay. Well, we'll leave it there. Bill Meiker from Barron International. We thank you very much for shedding some light on that subject for us.
My pleasure.
Thank you. All right. Well, next, a fishy product that Americans can't get enough of. There's some say they shouldn't be getting any of it at all. I'm going to tell you about that after this.